Yo, YouTube, what is good, brother gang, what's good, and we are back with another video. Now, as a JRPG fan, there is nothing more that I love seeing than seeing a brand new game announced or a remaster or remake of some of my favourite titles. With these announcements come anticipation. There have been some huge JRPG announcements in 2023, and from years gone by, with a bunch of these JRPGs slated for a 2023 release window. So in this video, I wanted to explore these 4 highly anticipated JRPGs and answer the simple question, just where the heck are they? DecaPolice. From its announcement back at the February Nintendo Direct earlier this year, DecaPolice was a game that immediately grabbed my attention and quickly turned into my most anticipated JRPG of the year. From the initial trailers and footage we saw of the game at the February Direct, I was absolutely blown away by the stunning visuals, gameplay and art direction the team at Level 5 had put together. So DecaPolice was originally intended to be presented as a successor to the Professor Layton series, and you can see from the trailers just how inspired the team at Level 5 was by it. I absolutely love the fact that this game has the investigation aspect, and of course, if you guys know me well and are fans of the channel, you know that I absolutely love the fact that the combat in this game is turn-based. So since this announcement, news on DecaPolice has been super quiet. The only real news we've gotten in the past 5 to 6 months has been a gameplay introduction trailer from Level 5 back in March of this year. Now personally, I'm not against Level 5 taking their time with this game, as it's their first big outing with a brand new IP in a long time. But when a game is slated for a 2023 release, my hopes and anticipation levels definitely go up a notch, especially when it's a game that looks as good and has as much potential as DecaPolice. Now personally, I think this game could potentially get a release date in the second quarter of this gaming year, possibly around November or December, with December being a strong thought in my mind. But on the other hand, part of me does feel this game may potentially get delayed till Q1 of 2024. Now I'm personally not against it if this game does get delayed, mainly due to the fact that the game never had a nailed down release date, more of a year window, meaning the game could be announced anytime throughout 2023, meaning the devs could take a little more time to polish up the game ready for release. So for me personally, I still have no doubts in my mind that DecaPolice will be an absolutely incredible game when it drops, and still does remain one of my most anticipated JRPGs of 2023, so here's hoping that we do get some more news on this game in the coming months. Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters. Now when it comes to the Suikoden remasters, we have to take it way back to September of 2022 when these games were first announced by Konami. So for me personally, my hype and anticipation levels were through the roof when I first heard the news of easily 2 of my favourite JRPGs ever coming back in the form of remasters. So just based off the beautiful announcement trailer and the gameplay trailer of the Necklord boss fight, I thought this game was a lockdown for a Q1 release window in 2023. Personally, the Suikoden remasters are games I have eagerly been anticipating, clamouring away at any news I can get my hands on. But since the initial 2 trailers Konami dropped, which was a whopping 10 months ago now, news on the remasters have gone pretty stale with no word from Konami. With many speculating, myself included in various different videos and news articles, there were rumours that the game would be announced at some big gaming showcases that have gone on throughout the year. So I will be leaving this on screen so you guys can see, but there have been recent leaks that the game could be slated for an October 2023 release window, with a user on Reddit showing an ad for their local game store claiming the game could be releasing around this time. Personally, the Suikoden remasters are easy up there as my most anticipated JRPGs to release, but with no confirmed release date, I'm pretty much praying that the leaks are true and we do see a release date for these remasters at some point this year. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Now when it comes to Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, we actually do have some recent news on where this game is. So serving as the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series from 505 Games and Rabbit & Bear Studio, Eiyuden Chronicle is a Kickstarter funded project slated for a 2023 release window. From its initial trailers back at the Tokyo Game Show of 2022, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes was easily shaping up to be one of my most anticipated JRPGs going into 2023. From the stunning 2D sprite work and 3D rendered backgrounds and incredibly beautiful world design and super fluid looking turn-based combat, Eiyuden Chronicle just ticked every box for me personally when it comes to doing a JRPG right. From the game being slated to be a spiritual successor to, as mentioned previously, my favourite JRPG series in Suikoden, I absolutely couldn't wait to get my hands on this game. So with news going extremely dark on the game, with no real news at all in 2023, and the last real news if any we got on the game coming in the form of the announcement trailers back in 2022, things were looking pretty bleak for Eiyuden Chronicle. So just as recently as July 28, 2023, sadly we got some news confirming the inevitable that Eiyuden Chronicle would be delayed to Q2 of 2024, with the developers saying that quote, "The decision was made in order to ensure the best possible story, and to reward the legion of Kickstarter backers with the best game experience possible." Now personally, I don't have a problem with this game being delayed, as this game was Kickstarter funded to begin with, and I feel the devs do owe it to the backers and gamers alike to make sure this game is in the best possible state ready for launch. So for me personally, I'm still super excited and eagerly anticipating the launch of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, but here's hoping and praying that the devs can get a nailed down release date in Q2 of 2024. GranBlue Fantasy Relink. Now moving on to probably the most anticipated JRPG for years, GranBlue Fantasy Relink has essentially been stuck in development hell for a whopping 7 years. From its first announcement at the Tokyo Game Show way back in 2016, GranBlue Fantasy Relink was shaping up to be the next big action RPG, and most certainly at the time and still to this day my most anticipated JRPG ever. From the insane visuals to the beautiful art style, world and character design, and not to mention that incredibly fluid action based combat, GranBlue Fantasy was a game that fueled me with so much excitement and is a game I've been so hyped for since 2016. So with news going extremely dark for a good 4 years from 2016 to 2019, with small trailers being dropped, it was first announced back in 2019 that Bayonetta's developers Platinum Games and Psy Games, who were originally collaborating to make the game, would be parting ways, meaning the game would take another tumble in its development plans. So fast forward 7 years later, and it finally looks like Psy Games is ready to release GranBlue Fantasy Relink after all these years. With the game getting more and more trailers over this past year, it was confirmed in 2022 that GranBlue Fantasy would be confirmed for a 2023 release window, and as recent as May 2023, Psy Games had announced that the game would be slated for a winter release window later this year. So from everything we've seen so far from the gameplay trailers, GranBlue Fantasy is still a game that fuels me with that same anticipation and excitement I first had when I first saw the game back in 2016. The game really looks as though it's going to be one of the best big scale action RPGs to come out in years. So details still continue to surface of the game, with trailers from the recent PlayStation showcase in May of this year showing up. But again, just like the rest of the games mentioned on this list, but GranBlue Fantasy Relink in particular, here's praying and hoping that Psy Games live up to that 2023 release window promise and we finally see GranBlue Fantasy awaken to the world. So that'll do it for this video guys. I really appreciate you guys for watching. I'd love to know what some of your most anticipated JRPGs slated for 2023 release are that we haven't heard too much news on, so please let me know down below in the comments. So please like, sub, share if you're new, hit that notification bell so you get notified for my videos first, and I hope I can be you guys' #1 source for all JRPG news. So from me too, this has been your bruv, the big bruv, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next video. I'm out, peace!